Salvonan, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our show. And this week we are continuing with our discussions and we are talking about the economy, the Zimbabwean economy, and how it has been affecting our disposable incomes. Precisely, we want to understand how one can survive in these turbulent times. You see that for the past 3-4 years, ever since 2019? Yes, when the government reintroduced the Zimbabwe dollar, inflation has been going up, and as we speak, it's around 268%. And although in recent months it has been sort of controlled, this is on the back of what the government has done and what the Reserve Bank has done, where they've decided to control the supply of the RTGS dollar, or precisely the Zimbabwe dollar. We loosely call it the RTGS dollar, and which is wrong. It's the Zimbabwe dollar. So the government has now come in and they've stabilized the exchange rate, both on the official market and on the black market. And you see that for the past 2-3 months, we have been having some sort of stability, which has brought in a sense of stability again in terms of pricing in the shops. That's a plus, especially for us consumers, because we have been suffering. We have been struggling with the increase in prices that has been going on, especially during the other times when the rate would just be going up each and every single day. So, but how can we survive? Some say it's just a matter of time before the inflation comes back again. Some are talking about the elections that are coming. Some are talking about Christmas. Some are talking about the bonuses that are coming. Whatever the reason, how are we going to survive? I was talking to a few friends earlier today, and we were discussing about government payments. And one of those friends is actually a farmer, and they were complaining that they had supplied GMB with their product, and GMB had not paid. So we were just saying, if it's true that GMB has not paid the farmers, and then what it means is the government is controlling the RTGS supply, the Zimbabwe dollar supply, by not paying people. But a time will come when they will have to pay those people. And once that supply of the Zimbabwe dollar comes back, you will then find that inflation will then creep in back again, and prices will start going up again. So in that event, how can you survive? What the government had done in controlling the Zimbabwe dollar supply stabilized the exchange rate. On the other hand, one thing that a lot of people had not realized, I was also speaking to a friend of mine who works for a large retail company earlier today, and they were telling me that when things are tough, during those times when the rate is going up, they've got huge sales. They record revenue during those times. Why? Because whenever we receive money, we are quick to hedge. We buy food, we buy whatever that we want to buy, because we don't want to lose value. We want to quickly get value. And so these big entities have been benefiting from that. So the huge supply of Zimbabwe dollar has been a blessing in disguise for companies. Now, the Zimbabwe dollar has been stabilized. The supply has been stabilized. What it means is people can now sort of hold on to their funds, hold on to their money for a short period of time. So what it means is the sales that these shops were getting will no longer be there. So it's a double-edged sword for the government. Low supply of the Zimbabwe dollar, you control the exchange rate, but you also record lower sales in terms of retail companies. But the stabilization of the local currency benefits us, the customers, the consumers. Why do we say that? Because you can now plan. If you receive your 500,000 RTGS today, Zimbabwe dollar today, at least you know that 2 days later you still have the same amount. So you can plan, you can do what you want to do with your money. So that's the good thing about it. But one of the biggest mistakes that we have been making, so we are now talking about how to survive in this environment. First thing that you need to do is, when you receive your money, obviously planning is important, knowing what you need to pay, whatever. But one of the biggest problems that we have been having is you receive your money today in Zimbabwe dollar. So when you receive your money in Zimbabwe dollar, a lot of us have had this tendency of then rushing to the black market. Sometimes you receive a lump sum from somewhere, wherever, maybe it's work, whatever. You receive your money as a lump sum. One of the biggest mistakes that we've been making, a financial mistake, is to rush to the black market and exchange that money into hard currency. So why do I say it's a mistake? Because the math is very simple. When you receive, let's say you receive 1 million, you put it into US, you get whatever amount that you get. But when you're transferring, trying to buy the hard currency that you need to put under your pillow, you are going to suffer costs. You're going to suffer, first and foremost, the 2% tax, loosely called Mtuli tax. You're also going to suffer bank charges. So I've calculated bank charges and the Mtuli tax, and you lose about 4% to 5% whilst you're transferring to get hard currency. Then you take your hard currency, you place it under your pillow or wherever you're keeping your money, and then as time goes on, you now need to spend the money. So when you're then spending the money, you want to get into a supermarket, you want to get into whatever, TM, Pick and Pay, Spar, whichever your preference is. And when you get into that shop, you still want to change the money back into RTGS, because one of the things that is happening, I can explain to say, now because there's low supply of, not even about supply, the government has said supermarkets, all big business should use official exchange rate. So what it means is, what we have noted is prices in supermarkets, prices in official retail businesses, they are more expensive in USD terms because they're using the official exchange rate, and they are cheaper in RTGS. So we all want to benefit. So after 2 weeks, I now need to go buy groceries in the supermarket, and I then want to change my money back into RTGS. And when I'm trying to do that, I will then change. And when I get into the first thing is, today, if you go into the black market right today and you want to sell your $100, these guys, they'll give you a rate of between 710 to 750. But if you want to buy, you now have you have RTGS and you want to buy from them, they will give you a rate of between 750 to 820. So there's always that difference, because these people are also in business. They are in the business of selling money. So they will buy low and sell high. So when you have RTGS, they'll sell the USD to you higher at 820. When you now want to buy from them, when you want to buy RTGS from them, you have USD, they'll give you a lower rate. They'll give you 710. So there's that difference, that loss that you're already incurring on your money in the first instance. Then in the second instance, you're also suffering double bank charges. When you were transferring money to trying to buy, you suffered 5%. You then go into the supermarket, you swipe, you still suffer another 5%. So that is where most of us are missing it, because that is money that we could use elsewhere. Because if you look at it, what is the loss that you're suffering between 710 and 820, for example? It's a lot of money. And what is this 5%? What is the amount? It could actually be equivalent to 100 USD or anything like that. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say the business of receiving money in one currency and changing money into another currency for transactional purposes, you are the one who will end up losing. So what you need to do is, if you get your money in a certain currency, you must keep it in that currency. And because we are using a dual currency, and then spend in that currency. Because you can get into a supermarket, you received 100 USD from your employer. Instead of then making this exchange through black market and all that, trying to leverage on the differences in exchange rates, just go elsewhere. Just go into a shop. There are many shops which are cheaper in USD. If you go downtown in Harare, there are a lot of shops, small shops, tuck shops there, and they sell their products in USD and they are quite cheap in USD. If you receive your money in Zim dollar, spend it in Zim dollar. Go to your supermarket, spend it in Zim dollar. It's cheaper in a supermarket to spend in Zim dollar than to use your hard currency. So I think today we end here. We need to be very careful with our money. We need to be intelligent. Why? Because every cent counts. Be frugal, guys. Be frugal. Don't waste your money. Don't lose money unnecessarily through exchange rate differences, through the small taxes that are there. You won't see it, but when you calculate it, one day I took my bank statement and I just wanted to see how much have I been suffering, or how much have I been paying to the government in taxes through transferring money to other people. And I was shocked. It was a lot of money that was going there. And how much money was I giving to the banks through bank charges? So if you can circumvent, if you can find a way of not just spending these taxes for no apparent reason, because you have no reason to be changing into this currency, then changing back into this currency, then that exchange, it's just a loss for us. Thank you. Have a good night.